I'm very, very happy of having here today Sara Mohamed Gómez from Asociación AMICOS, based in the lovely region of Galicia in Spain. And for the ones here, and for the ones that later on will be watching this webinar and following up with our thank you email, here you have the QR code that will redirect you to the website of AMICOS Association. Really, really, I encourage all of you to check what AMICOS has been doing for decades now in Galicia and creating this systemic change, contributing directly to the life of youngsters. So Sara is the EU project manager, the head of EU project management as Asociación AMICOS. And Sara, on behalf of Youth Proactive, we are really happy of having you here today. And you have been collaborating, AMICOS. We have been partners for a while already, so we got to know what AMICOS is doing. And we are really happy of collaborating in potential projects with you and having you on board here today. So Sara, thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, Teresa, for having me and having AMICOS in this webinar. As Teresa said, we are an association based in the northwest of Spain, in Galicia. And my name is Sara Mohamed Gómez. I'm from Spain, although my first surname is from Egypt. This is why it doesn't sound very Spanish. And well, I'm here in behalf of AMICOS, representing more specifically the transformation area where I work in, where we work staff related and personnel related to the accountability administration, project management, fundraising, communication, which is an extensive team. And well, we would like to speak about a little bit, giving some highlights on some things about the organization, about our methodology and techniques. But as I said, just a few key ideas, which I'm not very specialized in, for example, psychological or social work, and also EU policy. But I would like to also share the ideas of my colleagues in behalf of them.
Wonderful, Sara. Thank you very much. So, Sara, would you like we start with this video that you wanted to share with us, and then we move into the 3 key topics that we have prepared for you? Wonderful. So I'm going to stop sharing, and you are also co-host, so please feel free. And hello, everybody. Hello, Hannah. Hi, Paloma. Happy to see you as well, to all the new people joining us now.
So I think you can see now my screen.
Yes, yes.
I will start sharing. If somebody doesn't hear, just please let me know.
Thank you, Sara.
AMICOS is a non-profit association specialized in supporting people with disabilities, brain damage or paralysis, and autistic spectrum disorder. It was founded in 2000 by a group of parents with intellectually disabled children who decided to build a center for them, driven by the lack of one in the county of Barbanza. It started off as a small daycare center, and over the last 20 years, it became an association offering comprehensive support to these people and their families in all stages of life. The PICUS, Little People area, serves more than 30 children and young adults in between the ages of 0 and 21 and their families. We offer them a special education center with an early care unit, a specialized team offering personalized support depending on each case and situation. Our work with schools in several initiatives is focused on fostering inclusion and respect, such as Badaboom, a local project building dynamic playgrounds, and Ink Leisure, an Erasmus Plus project, which provides training and support to the teachers. In this manner, we support and complement the work at ordinary schools. In the Personas, People area, our main aim is to accompany and support each user in the process of building their life project according to their own concerns and skills, while always keeping in touch with their families. To achieve this, we rely on a daycare center, an occupational center, and a residency for those who need continuous specialized care.
Haber unha monitora cunha tablet e dinos os distintos talleres que hai o día seguinte e nós escollemos o taller que nos guste. Temos distintos talleres, como son nova tecnología, accesibilidade, informática, vamos á piscina, outros compañeros están na fábrica social, e agora, como se acercan as Navidades, estamos preparando a decoración de Navidad do centro. En Fisio, eu solo facer pintas, solo facer así algún circuito de obstáculos e tal.
Our methodology relies on friendly service, active listening, fostering personal autonomy, and active participation in all aspects of life. Society should demonstrate to all people with disabilities that they belong in it, and they should be a part of the social network. With this goal, we developed Integrados, an association that facilitates beneficiaries to learn to enjoy their leisure time through sports, cultural exchanges, promotion of healthy habits, summer camps, and activities to take care of the nature.
Yo fui la semana pasada al barco, nos montamos en barco, vimos delfines y todo. Íbamos a los colegios con los niños y limpiábamos las playas de los residuos marinos. Teníamos una lona muy grande que era como el juego de la oca y que era pasar de un mar sucio al mar completamente limpio. Entonces, una vez estaba yo limpiando y un chico de 3 años me decía, Yacine, tú eres mi héroe. Y yo también cuando voy a trabajar voy a ser más grande que tú, voy a ser agente medioambiental.
Another one of the main keys is the job placement. In our department, partnerships with persons and companies, we work in 2 different fronts. We work with companies to accomplish the legislation framework in our country, which establishes that those companies with over 50 employees should have at least 2% of their positions reserved for people with disabilities. In this regard, we ensure compliance with the law. We advise and support companies for them to compliance as well. And we offer them a number of workers with profiles that fit to their businesses. We work directly with people with disabilities and risk of possible social exclusion in all phases. Employment guidance, training, and seeking job opportunities that fit to their profiles and concerns.
A Ecobrigada se ordenou ano 2011 con motivo da expansión e desenvolvemento do Departamento de Emprego de AMICOS. Detectamos a necesidade de ofrecer un emprego protegido a persoas con discapacidade intelectual e en risco de exclusión social no que poidan formarse e adquirir competencias o obxectivo último e final de insertarse no mercado ordinario de emprego. Son equipos especializados dentro de 4 áreas principais: forestal, xardinería, obra civil e vedelería. É dicir, a nosa área de traballo abarca desde a xestión e mantemento de terreos forestais, tamén dos xardíns e zonas verdes, pasando pola eliminación de barreras arquitectónicas no espazo tanto rural como urbano, ata o control de accesos en espacios naturais, entre outros. Para todo isto, as Ecobrigadas contan cun corpo técnico que coordina, forma e presta apoio a todos os equipos e persoas.
AMICOS is a non-profit organization that over 900 people in Galicia attend on a daily basis. We invest 100% of our partners' donations and the support of public institutions into the actions we develop. Our work relies on trying to minimize the challenges that people with disabilities are confronted with in their daily lives. This is the only way to assure an inclusive and sustainable future. A future in which people with disabilities can fully and effectively participate in society in equal conditions as everyone else. AMICOS is a non-profit organization that over 900 people in Galicia attend on a daily basis. We invest 100% of our partners' donations and the support of public institutions into the actions we develop. Our work relies on trying to minimize the challenges that people with disabilities are confronted with in their daily lives. This is the only way to assure an inclusive and sustainable future. A future in which people with disabilities can fully and effectively participate in society in equal conditions as everyone else.
Wow, Sara, this is such a powerful video.
Thank you.
Wow.
I was mentioning it before to Teresa before we started this meeting that it was a volunteer who made this video. She was volunteer. Well, every year we host at least 3 volunteers from European countries, and they are people usually who just graduated in high school, for example, like 18, 19 years old, and they would like to learn something new, for example, in communication skills or graphic design, or sometimes in the daycare center, attending people with disabilities, or in the school. So she has all the merits, and she had a really great job, and she was speaking all in the whole video, in the voice. So I'm proudly showing up of my volunteers. They're like our kids. Thank you. Yeah, I think the video, an image can show and say more than 1,000 words, and I didn't want to bother you with my voice and my testimony all the time. But following with the presentation that Teresa is showing now, we'd like to introduce a little bit some, as I was saying, key ideas about how to empower youth with disabilities through inclusive participation. As we were mentioning in the video and also showing in the images, we have several services and areas to work with people with disabilities, with the main focus and objective of fostering social inclusion of these people and also their families. As Mia, the volunteer who made this video, she said that in the beginning of the video that we started as a small organization, small association of parents with who has people with disabilities in their families, maybe their brothers, sisters, daughters and sons, relatives or friends who has no other support system or any other resources. So this started as the main one and one of the first ones. Actually, Amicos was born 25 years ago this year. So you can imagine how much we developed the services, and nowadays we are in a internationalization process of also trying to gather new best practices from other partners and consortiums, but also to spread the word and show what has been working for us. So we would like also to share our methodologies, and we always say that we keep going and we keep learning. So continuing with the question number 1, how can we actively engage people with intellectual disabilities, in empowering them and helping them to participate in ordinary life? We follow one of our mottos is actually people supporting people. We just focus in the people-centered model, which says that we are focusing on persons, individuals, no matter their capabilities, no matter their skills. Even the same goes with people coming from other countries volunteering in our association. We just focus on the individual's needs, sometimes barriers and problems as well, to find the solutions. So we're focusing mainly also, our directors always say this sentence that I really like, from people with intellectual disabilities passing from a passive role traditionally to an active role. So this is why, for example, Yasin, who was in the video, he said that a kid told him he's his hero. He's a hero for him. I want to be like you when I get older. This really makes us really proud of him. Another methodology that we follow, it is the shared citizenship paradigm, which means that every person to be settled, to be part of the society requires the engagement and full participation of people with disabilities as equal, respected, valued, participating, and contributing members of all aspects of society. So this is something really important for us as well. What we ask ourselves, and we ask them, what do you need for you to feel a full citizen? Well, I need emancipation, so I need money, and then I need a job. But to get a job, what do I need? Maybe I need some training, but maybe the training is not enough, and I need to develop my soft skills as well. But once I get a job, sometimes we get frustrated, they get frustrated, and we get as well, because maybe they cannot maintain the job. So what extra support can we provide them? Sometimes we provide them with psychosocial support, with individual plans for them to feel supported, accompanied, and also their families to feel safe. We try to build a safe space for them, not only while accompanying them and following up their progress to get a job, for example, or for the emancipation, but also to create itineraries, routes, and roadmaps, but also collaborating with external services. Sometimes, for example, in Spain, we have these public bodies, which are the community social services, and it's key to work together hand to hand with them. Also, working hand to hand with the enterprises and companies, we need to raise awareness on them and make them understand, especially the employers as individuals as well, to understand that there's people with different needs who, for example, we cannot speak louder to, or we cannot yell to them, because this is the way they get frustrated, especially with people with Asperger or autism spectrum disorder. So maybe this can sound too obvious, but they sometimes just need more time, more attention, and the specific resources and tools for them to progress effectively. So this is somehow our mindset in all the spheres of life, because something that also my colleagues highlight a lot in the speaking, in the webinars and in the conferences, is that AMICOS works and accompanies people with disabilities and their families in all spheres of life, in all life stages, which means that from 0 years old, of course, sometimes it's difficult to diagnose depending on the behavioral or the condition or the disability. But for example, we can work with people with Down syndrome since 0 years old. So this is why we have a special education center attending children and young adults since 0 years old until 21 years old. This is because of the Spanish and the regional community laws, that special education centers have this range of ages for attending them. But the good news is that after 21 years old, from 22 actually, we can keep supporting them through our daycare center, also through our occupational center. For example, you saw in the images the social factory, and for example, in the eco squads, we call it in Spain, in Spanish, eco brigadas. So these people are trained to work with us in maintenance, gardening, and this sort of especially manually and practical works. And yes, following a little bit with children and the young adults, our aim is to develop a family-centered model. We tried not only children and young adults, but also families to get really aware of their needs and to continue the activities we start in the center at home. It's like learning a new language. If you continue speaking it at home, you will learn it better. So getting new skills, soft skills or basic skills that we take for granted takes so much time. Also, my boss recently said in a meeting that a teacher who he just found recently, he remembered him when he was a kid. And she told him, "Do you remember how many years it took me to teach you the letter A? You were doing like this, but never finished it. It took me 3 years for you to learn it." He has no disabilities, and but it's a way to explain to people that it takes so long and so much patience from us. So it is a work that we do as professionals and specialists in attending people with disabilities, but also the whole society must be involved, and also families. So continuing a little bit with the activities we do, There are so many names in Galician and Spanish, but I will try to translate them. For example, an activity that I love is Integra Escola. We integrate people together with children in so many initiatives and activities. We call it Integra Escola, but also Fall in Love with Us, Enamórate con Nos, Pensadoiro, and so on. Those are activities and initiatives that we do regularly without any funding, just for us to get integrated also in the schools and collaborate with them. There are so many local teachers who are so aware and involved in these initiatives, and this is thanks to them that we can put together and connect students, scholars from the early ages with or people with disabilities, also from the schools, but also adults. Those are great initiatives for them to speak. For example, Pensadoiro, which is my favorite one, they just meet in the library of school after school. They have some snacks like sandwiches or something, and they speak to each other, but informally. And then afterwards, they have the intermediation of a psychologist who is one of our colleagues, and she mediates in a way that they created a group, a safe group for them to speak up about their concerns, their inquiries, what are they worried about, and so many stories, sometimes sad, sometimes I don't know, very delicate, shows up, and she knows how to support them, but they listen to each other and they have their rule of what happens here doesn't go further from here, in terms of, I don't know, confidentiality, safety, and they are becoming step by step friends somehow. And we have this excuse for them to meet up and connect, which is a lovely networking. We also have these activities like Ecovida to foster a correct and healthy nutrition, but also sports, nature, well-being. In Galicia, we have a lot of natural and beautiful spots, and we try to take them there to walk, to enjoy the nature, and to connect in a different way. Somehow, also we're since we have people living in our residency, we have 38 adults at the moment. It is mandatory for them to stay in these four walls, as we say. They should stay in there, and if a social worker from the social services doesn't know where he or she is, it is a problem. So somehow we try to rebuild in our same facilities. So all the residency is directly connected to the daycare center and the occupational center and the garden and everything, so in a way that they connect with the external people, like us. This is why I get so emotional when I see the videos, because we're really close to each other. Although I'm working in offices, I work outdoors a lot. I travel, but still, I have lunch with them. I see them in the wall, in the corridors, and I say hi to them. I ask them how it went, I don't know, last weekend. They ask me too how I'm feeling, and it is not a friendship. It is something different. They're opening also the doors of their home because this is their home. And I don't know. This is
Wow. This is so beautiful, and you know, for me, Sara, this family-centered model, no, and the whole inclusion of society, like not excluding anybody, like we persevere together, no, as you are saying, you are in your office environment, but at the same time, you are meeting the youngsters in the corridors and creating also the conditions of a home, no, it's not that they have a house, no, they have a home. Like un hogar, no? We would say in Spanish. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And thank you for all the more theoretical explanation and bringing this into the reality. And let's move to the next section that you already just mentioned, because Galicia, for the ones that haven't visited Galicia, I'm encouraging all of you to go because it's nature. It's this Atlantic weather nature, so beautiful. And I think, Amicos, you have been very like clever in the sense that you have really connected, no, your mission with your beautiful natural environment and make something out of it. And I'm going very quickly to share my screen again, because next section of our conversation with Sara is focused on environment. No? Amicos, you have really made a wonderful job connecting the environment, what the environment offers you, with the opportunities that these young people, and not only young people, not all the beneficiaries of Amicos can get out of it. So I'm going to read this very quickly. I will keep the screen share for a while so everyone can read as well. So leveraging digital and environmental initiatives for social inclusion. In other words, how we make the most of our natural environment to support social inclusion of the youngsters and the beneficiaries at Amicos. So Remar, I remember you already told me about Remar last year when Amicos participated in our exchange of best practices. Okay, I'm reading. In projects like Remar, Amicos combines environmental action with social inclusion. What role do such initiatives play in fostering accessibility and engagement for people with disabilities? And more broadly, how can digital platforms be better utilized to expand the impact of similar programs across Europe? No, you just mentioned like this internationalization phase, no, that you are now at the moment. So how can we, the ones present here today and also the ones that will be watching this recording online, benefit and get inspired, no, from projects like Remar?
Thank you, Teresa. So as you were saying, we are surrounded of nature, but also coastline. So we are really aware, and somebody said in the comments in the chat that we are also community oriented, which is totally true. We're really aware of the community and the sense of community we're building also in people with disabilities living with us or attending daily to the daycare center, but also aware of one of the main resources and as industry sectors, which is, for example, fishing. So Remar was key for us to connect with, for example, fishermen unions and associations working all around. Also the canning factories for fisheries, again, for canning sardines, octopus, all this food, seafood coming and very common from the northwest, as we're close to the Atlantic Ocean. It is obvious for us, but we need to mention this for people coming from so far countries. And it is important for us to connect with the associations, also with the companies, and not only for them to hire but also for corporate social responsibility. We have this section, this area called Employment and Alliances, which tries to seek employers to raise awareness on them, also teach them how to act, and we intermediate with them and the employees once they get hired or once they need, for example, I don't know, they need some information of how should we proceed, how can we make it not that expensive for new people with high and severe needs to get hired and trained. So there are so many benefits for them also to hire people with intellectual disabilities and other collectives and groups in risk of exclusion and vulnerable situations, because they get these taxes reductions, for example, and benefits. So, but it's not the only benefit, it's also a social impact, a social visibility that can help them in their brand. So this is very positive for them and for us. But continuing a little bit with the community, we indeed worked in Remar with enterprises. For example, they sometimes sponsored us for cleaning up beaches, rivers, and also for training fishermen how to act in a way that it is less harmful for the sea and also for the species living in the sea. So nowadays, I would like to present a new project idea it is not an idea, it is already ongoing, and it is related to marine restoration. So we took a step forward, and nowadays we have our own hospital of algae and seaweed. We are recovering them from fishermen, collaborating, of course, with them, because they, by not by mistake, but by accident, they get the seaweed from the seagrass while fishing. It is accidental because they want to get the fish, of course, but they get this, and this, the seaweed, is the nutrition. It is the food for the fish, which is very important for the cadena trófica, which I don't know how to say, but it's important for continuing the feeding process. And we are training them and raising awareness on them, but also we built this hospital for Gorgonia, laminaria, and other marine species, which people with disabilities are working in. They're healing them in the hospital, they're feeding them, growing up them, and for example, in collaboration with the University of A Coruña, scientists, specialists in this field, they're controlling the temperature of the water. They're doing everything. They are the main active agents here, and they're taking in stones the algae and putting them back to the sea, so they grow up again, and the fishing can be fed again. I don't know if I'm explaining well because this is too technical, but I will encourage you to also watch our website, but our YouTube channel, because we're trying to post more videos about this as well. And this is a way that we are contributing with a little bit of support to the sea and to the coastline, and also to the industry. So this is an initiative again that we are working with key partners, the public bodies, public authorities, tourism offices as well, because there's a lot to raise awareness on them too. We work with institutes and research centers and universities with all the fields that we cannot cover. But we can cover always the social innovation and this crazy idea that came up like a year ago, and now it's ongoing and very successfully. So this is what we're bringing to the table: social innovation, new practices, and again, new contributions of people with disabilities in all fields. Also continuing with the digitalization, Javi, one of the boys speaking in the video, he mentioned that once we got in the center, they gave us an interactive screen and also a tablet to choose the activity we want to do today. So this is free choice methodology. They are the main persons who choose what they want to do every day, because they have their own project of life. So if you today feel like going to craft workshop, you will do something more chill. But if you feel like learning something technological, let's go to technology workshop. If you feel like, oh, I'm really about getting a job, and you have already an itinerary, you need to be consistent and keep on going to job coaching services that our colleagues are providing, but also to the social factory, for example, where they learn how to not only packaging and canning, but also to be consistent, to learn discipline, to finally be possibly find a job. So this is a part of the digitalization, digital screens and tablets, but also we work with 3D printing and activities related to, for example, you could see in the images some tubes with bubbles and lights. So this is the stimulation and sensorial room, which is my favorite in the whole building. And once, if you ever come to visit us, you will enjoy this so much, because it is a room with only sounds, vibrations, music, colors, bubbles, even a cascade of lights. So this helps especially people with severe needs and severe disabilities, for them to learn, for example, animals, because they hear the roar of a tiger or a lion. They identify the colors on the bubbles because the color of the tiger as well. And sometimes for stimulation, for example, we have fireworks and you have the vibrations in the mats and in the sofas. So there's a whole way for them to learn and get new skills that, again, we take for granted. And we get benefit of digitalization through these activities. And I'm sure I'm missing so much information, like the Amicos mobile app for quality assurance and following up all the protocols with the people with disabilities that are really strict, but we have a really also strict check, I don't know how to say this, control with dashboards and so on. So yes, but just to summary, briefly explain our initiatives. We mainly raise awareness with schools, with companies, with public bodies. We take action through activism, waste collections, with volunteers, but also with scholars and companies. And now we're doing also marine restoration. So we get to the sea as well through boats, of course, and we are healing some species of the sea.
Wow, it's so holistic. So really so holistic and connecting so many dots, and really looking forward. You know, Sara, I will be visiting Amicos soon, probably, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this sensorial room. And as you say, we take so many things for granted that are not so obvious for many people, and being aware of this, and bringing awareness in all these different layers, this is very powerful, and your mission is creating such a massive impact. I'm moving now to the next section of our conversation. Just to mention, because for instance, Hannah was raising some insightful questions. We are having a Q&A following this like more structured conversation with Sara. And going back to the beginning, Sara is in charge of the EU, European head of projects. So you have also the general overview, of all policy making, and at the same time, all the different projects and funding mechanisms that we need to be aware of when applying for funding. And this closing question from my side, it's focus on this. It's mostly evaluating, this impact of EU policies on disability inclusion. And I'm going to read the question. I know this is a very, very wide question. There are so many layers to interpret here. But again, it's coming from your experience in Amicos and the projects that you have been involved so far and the ones we are applying. So, Sara, from your experience managing these EU-funded projects, how effective have current EU policies have been in promoting social and professional inclusion of youngsters with disabilities? And more importantly, what gaps remain and how can future projects address these challenges? Because we know there are so many challenges and there are also many and innovative ways of addressing them. We have seen this with examples that you have given us.
Okay. So I would like to start a little bit incorporating what the United Nations Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities mentions, which is to guarantee non-discrimination and equal participation. And also complementing this are the common provisions, regulations on structure of funds, framework, and especially the European Social Plus Fund, ensuring that projects under these funds promote accessibility, social integration, and professional inclusion for all, especially for vulnerable groups such as people with intellectual disabilities or disabilities generally. So evaluating the impact of European Union policies, I would like to share our experiences from the team of European management projects, but I had the help here of my colleague who is the policy officer, and he's specialized in analyzing these ideas. So these ideas doesn't come from me, he gets the credit. From his experience managing European funds, Currently, the European Union policies have delivered tangible benefits in enhancing the social and professional inclusion of people with disabilities. We were mentioning before that all these collaborations with companies, all these initiatives, which are mostly sometimes with structural funding from the European Union to address maritime and fishing, but this especially for employment of people with disabilities with the structural funds of the European Social Fund Plus. This facilitates and offer tailored career guidance, vocational training, also mentoring and direct support services. And these projects not only help young people to acquire necessary skills, but also to facilitate their smooth transition from education to the workforce. In Amicos, we work daily with programs funded with the European Social Fund. And this, as I was saying, provide tailored vocational education trainings for dozens of people at risk of social exclusion, not only people with intellectual disabilities. In the last, only in this year, in 2025, we already attended near 70 people who were integrated in educational or workforce. So these numbers are increasing in the last years, and we expect way more since we are in the first mid of the year. But it's also worth to mention that many of our projects are funded by Erasmus, which is also an European fund. Also, another funds which are not managed nationally, like the third program. And these programs also, especially in international cooperation, aims to improve the transitions of people with disabilities, for example, from secondary to post-secondary education. And through our projects, we also try to improve their hiring, but also their skills and provide new initiatives and activities, but also the opportunity to go visit some places abroad. It is an issue for us that we work with a lot of people younger than 30 years old, but mostly over 30 years old, and considering for the European Union, they don't consider them young people anymore, which is an issue for us for them to participate in these activities. So this is my personal view, and we also try to mention this when we had the chance to speak with relevant stakeholders and decision makers. But anyways, we are still to see how the European Union's new education skills strategy will play out and how it will be framed in the upcoming funding structures. But following with my colleagues' reflections, our current EU policies make progress. Some challenges are still remain. We notice that applying for and reporting on European Social Fund and structural funds involves very complicated bureaucracy. And this can discourage small organizations, like is our case. We are so many of these programs are let's say cascade funding for the ones who work will understand. And it's the national programs and ministries who are managing sometimes these programs, but still it's really complicated for smaller organizations, and we observe this and we have some discrepancies with this. And also we believe that there is a need of organizing more specialized programs to address the unique challenges of young people with disabilities, challenges that only they face. And we need more advanced, for example, digital skills, entrepreneurship support, and innovative mentoring. To tackle these issues, my team would suggest also simplifying application and reporting procedures. This is very smart for them. For more organizations, smaller ones as well, to easily participate, and focusing more on the quality of the initiatives, let's say, not only in the application forms. Finally, we would also suggest to strengthen partnerships between European institutions, local governments, and also disability-focused organizations. In these terms, we would like to mention that we are AMICOS. We are part of the EASPD umbrella association, the European Association of, or umbrella associations of organizations providing services to people with disabilities all around the world, but they have their headquarters in Brussels. And they're really working on advocacy and very focused on, especially at this moment, we are really aware and concerned about an issue. There is, due to the reduction of the overall EU funding and budget, and we heard the news that they're merging or they're willing to merge the funds, especially the European Social Fund, which could be a very severe issue for all these kind of organizations working with people with disabilities, but also social inclusion in general. And this is an issue that we are seeing from this umbrella association trying to tackle. They recently had a meeting with the cabinet of Executive Vice President Minsatu, and I would like to share some of the results of this meeting that we just got yesterday. Well, this umbrella organization believes that continuous advocacy is essential to ensure that the sizes of these funds, the European social funds, and their focus on social inclusion, equal opportunities, and employment opportunities are not compromised. So this is one of the reflections and conclusions. Fortunately, the good news is that the Vice President and the Cabinet is also aware of this, and they have the same vision, let's say, but it doesn't depend only on the European Parliament. So we are quite concerned and constantly following the news regarding this issue. But I would say that those are some of our reflections about our experiences on EU policies.
Thank you, Sara. Thank you. So simplification of application mechanisms. I think this goes for everybody. We are aware, no, of all the administrative steps and how challenging this can be, no, for small organizations and those starting, no. So eventually this has a deep impact, and let's keep us updated on how these conversations go about this Brussels-based umbrella organization. Yes, new multi-annual financial framework starting in 2028. So definitely many changes. So let's see how this affects all of us, no? The organizations working towards promotions of youngsters in all different fields. Sara, this has been so enlightening, so insightful. Thank you also to your colleague Javi, compiling all this policy analysis. Really thank you to all the AMICOS team on behalf of Youth Proactive, and to you especially. And now it's definitely the time to address some of the questions that our participants have. Hannah already raised a question on the chat. Let me just check for the question. 1 second later. Where is the question? Cannot find it. Yes. So, Hannah, would you like to ask the question yourself, Hannah?
Yeah, hi, why not?
Hi, Hannah. Hi. Thank you very much for joining us, Hannah.
Yeah, thank you. That was such an amazing speech, Sara. It's really empowering. I have a question because my organization also tried to establish contacts with corporate social responsibility businesses. I don't know, but in Ukraine, it's such a challenge, to prioritize people with disabilities, not military stuff right now because of the war. And I just wanted to ask, do AMICOS work directly with already corporate social responsibility sector who already work with people with disabilities, maybe who are interested in employment, or you just transform the mindsets and ideas of lots of businesses? How do you work? What's your strategy? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Hannah. Very nice to meet you. So yes, indeed, our amicos, especially the employment and alliances area, they work with enterprises in trying to, I would say, trying to change the mindset of employers in terms of corporate social responsibility, and for sure in hiring people with intellectual disabilities and people in risk of exclusion situation in general. But our main focus, as we are specialists in this target group, it is indeed disabilities. But how are our strategies? This is a really hard question, but I can explain some of the initiatives that we are developing and we developed in the past. For example, the Solidarity Challenge, Reto Solidario. It was an initiative that we started years ago with a certain project, but we're continuing doing this, and we are awarding and providing symbolical prizes to those enterprises who are actually hiring these people. And when we say hiring, we also mean to train them, to take them moments for meeting us and our team, to be patient enough also to offer these mentoring sessions that these people require. So this pricing or awarding galas, this is one of the initiatives we do. And maybe I can ask for some certain like initiatives of or strategies. But as I said, there's a whole team focused on doing these meetings, these initiatives, and challenging enterprises. But unfortunately, this is a long way to go, a long work to do. And they always mention trying to raise awareness on this, that, for example, we have a program specialized for young women or adult women with intellectual disabilities. And the third thing, aspect and condition is that we're living in rural areas. So this is not, as they say, a double no, it's a 3 no sometimes, because we have the challenge of being a woman, which makes, as we know, there are so many discrimination and sometimes even co-living difficulties, to take care of the house, the children, the family members who are getting older and need some support. To co-living this with work is a challenge itself, but also having a disability and then living in a rural area, which the transport here is terrible. There's no way that you can use the public transport here to get to work. So there's a double or 3 no's. So we always try to raise awareness with these impactful, let's say, sentences. But yeah, there's a lot to do still.
Wow. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you. Quite kind of empowering. Good luck with all of that. Yep. Like intersectional approach is totally what we should use because we can't omit all that +1, +2, +4, I don't know, challenges and barriers. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah.
Anna, I see you have a question.
Yes, maybe 2 questions if Sarah has patience. So I'd like to give feedback for Bulgaria because we are working very closely with, this is introduction, not a question. We are working very close with similar organization. And what is my impression, because we have been working with them for more than 10 years, I see that your goal is to build some skills for hiring, for labor market. But I see that, for example, from 30 young people, who were young 10 years ago, now they're above 40, maybe 2 or 3 had the chance to find part-time job. And that center started organizing some activities, producing some artifacts or some food in the center with very strong supervision, because people are not well concentrated, or they need a lot of help and assistance. So this is my feedback from Bulgaria. And when these people are not young, so we have to think under which call and how. Anyway, the topic for disabilities remains. My first question is both to Teresa or to you. What changes are we going to expect for the Erasmus call in autumn?
Teresa, thank you for the feedback, first of all, Anna. Teresa, I leave the floor to you. Who knows?
Very
Great
little,
answer.
very little at the moment, Anna. Until we don't read the full call and we know, because I mean, I don't think there are going to be so many changes in comparison to previous years, because we are still receiving funding under the 21-27 multi-annual financial framework. This is what still keeps me like, okay, fine. In terms of like funding distributions, we are fine. Considering these questions, transferring these questions for previous year post 2027, this remains a mystery to me. This remains a mystery. So far, I think that probably it's going to be a replication of previous years. We never know, because these things, until you don't read, the call, you never know. Maybe there are some technical changes with the application. We always know that there are tiny changes with some questions, but I don't think there is going to be a like massive transformation. But I think this will happen, as Sara was mentioning, for the conversations we were having with the Vice President, with the umbrella organization here in Brussels. We will see changes, not this year, not 2026, afterwards. That's my feeling so far. But we are not an oracle. We cannot know for certain, but I think that the safest answer so far, it's like not a disruption. That's my answer, Anna. I think I'm not giving you a yes or no.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And the second question is, because many of the colleagues, they prepare some projects on the topic of, how to say, military skills of young people. And some Polish schools, they started opening classes for military skills in autumn. So my question is, can we say that this is a priority for youth projects?
Sara, do you want to go ahead, or should I give my opinion?
I honestly hope it's not. It breaks my heart to kind of imagine also or people or individuals who I say hi in the corridors to imagine us in a situation like that. So who knows how this war situation can affect us in the near in the midterm and short term future. So I hope it's not, but honestly I have no idea. I wish I could give you an answer.
I'm going to follow up with this very, very quickly. I think that this is connected to this preparedness plan, that has been presented recently, maybe 1-2 months ago. My feeling of time flies. And I think that from what I've been reading so far, definitely there is a connection between this, like need, to rearm. And I think maybe if this can impact somehow educational projects, entrepreneurial, etc., is with the link of the military, let's say, military with the innovation. As we have seen in so many other places, it's that there is no disconnect. There is like an innovation element connected to the military industry, like drones industry. I'm not an expert on this at all. I did international
we are
relations.
experts. We know, for
Yes,
example, in
yes.
transport, everything has
Yes.
double use.
Yes, yes. Oh dear, Hannah is
For us,
answering.
it's not a problem.
Yes.
But I have also a second remark because you remember COVID, and in case of situation of uncertainty, maybe we have also to have some scenario for people with disabilities.
Completely.
And especially for people who are not involved in any working processes or in the communities, or people who are alone and the only, how to say, connection with the world is visiting a day center and not working, and they depend a lot on social support.
Mm-hmm.
So they are very vulnerable group.
Totally.
Yeah, I understand that both topics, economic growth and military, especially with double use, is logically, to be on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And also people with disabilities.
Yeah.
And Sara, are you ready to be a coordinator of Erasmus project?
We are indeed coordinators of Erasmus projects. We have been previously.
In 2020?
In 2020, I wasn't working yet in Amicos. Actually, I was finishing my master's studies, but I wasn't at that moment in 2020. But in that year, what I've heard is that, I am aware of that because I read the news. These sort of centers weren't prepared because mainly the government wasn't either. It was a very challenging situation in Spain. So many cases for the COVID, and so many people, like I said, we have 38 people living in the residency, but like near 60 people living at their homes with their families, or with their relatives. And how could we support them if they're at home? So many of them, they don't have or skills or devices to digitally connect online. So some of our colleagues, they just drove to their homes and went to continue some of the activities they initiated in, sometimes rehabilitation, and physical therapy, but also speech therapy or something like that. It was a really hard situation, for example, for people with autism who couldn't get out home. It was hard, but I have
I think that we have to explain them generally in a very friendly and peaceful way, in a protected environment. For example, when they receive on the mobile alert message, or how to react, how to feel, what to do, maybe who to contact, maybe some scenario, because we have to avoid panic. Anyway, they are not stable enough. And maybe we have to make such a scenario for this target group in or disaster or fire or floods or any.
Yeah.
And what project you have been coordinating?
So we have been coordinating a project called, for example, Every Day is a Training Day for activities focused on social inclusion, always, of people with disabilities in terms of nature and sports, healthy activities to improve their well-being. Also, we are currently coordinating a project related to music art therapy. So we are collaborating with a conservatory of music in Italy and an university who are specialists in a technique, especially
Great,
for
great.
vulnerable groups.
And
Yeah,
which programs is the funding?
Erasmus,
Yes.
always. We
210?
Yeah. Anna and Sarah, I will put you in touch like this.
Yeah,
I
okay.
will.
Sorry.
No
Sorry.
worries. No, because I know their.
No more.
No,
Yeah.
I will. No, because I know that good things will resolve from this webinar. I have no doubt.
Thank you.
Totally. Just one thing that, thank you, Anna. No, not really. Fully agree with these questions. Hannah raised something that I remember reading, by the way, this disability, COVID-19 disability rights monitor. Yes, I remember downloading this document and reading some of the final reports. Thank you, Hannah, for this note. Thank you. And I see that Sarah has shared her email. Mr. Chafar, we
I
cannot
would
hear
like
you.
a question, Teresa. I can?
No, you are. There is a lot of background noise. Maybe can you type if you have a question?
Yes?
Yes. There is a lot of background noise coming from
You don't listen me?
Lang.
No. I will write my question.
Yes. We can hear you, but not comme ci, comme ça.
Like now it was perfect for me.
Yes. Oh,
You
wow.
listen me?
Okay.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you and Sara and entire team of the AMICOS Association for your valuable work, particularly in promoting the social inclusion of people with special needs through professional integration. I'm also curious to know whether the experience of AMICOS Association has been extended across the entire Spanish territory and whether there is potential to plan partnerships with similar associations in Tunisia. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, Mr. Tafar. It is a really great question. I'm sure the CEO, the general director, would answer you way better than me, who since he's working here for over 20 years, and I'm only two. But it is hard to explain how an association that works with just a few people in a small village of the Northwest on a rural area grew up this way. But I have to admit that we got very benefit, and we are very lucky that in Spain we have really great support from European Social Fund. We are privileged. And even though we're working with a very marginalized group who historically and traditionally was hidden at their homes with shame and guilt, we are nowadays transforming the minds and the paradigm. So this is thank you also to the governmental and national support. So, but taking this apart, I would say that having key partners nationally, regionally, it is key to succeed, and it is really helpful for taking from them the, as I was saying before, with marine restoration, for example, to take all the things that we are missing and all the knowledge and expertise. So great consortiums are key. And for example, being in this meeting is thanks to the coalition of the Youth Proactive. And being in EASPD, it is also a privilege, because we can mention our best practices, we can share our concerns and build something meaningful and bigger. We are also, I would say that our expertise and our scope is limited to our region, but we are initiating from last year some small activities. For example, we recently rented an office with national support for employability in Extremadura, which is near the south of Spain. So we also have a colleague home officing, working from home in Andalusia. This is by chance because she was working here in Galicia, but she moved back home. And there she's doing the same replicability and scalability of the projects and initiatives starting here, because it is possible in a territory, although the size of our country and the peninsula is huge. It's enormous, and there are so many differences. For example, when you work in the sea, in the Atlantic Ocean and in the Mediterranean Sea, of course. But there are so many things in common, and we just put the things in common to replicate. For example, the three main aspects for us that work are raising awareness. This involves also environmental education, and always with scholars, because they are the future citizens, they are the future adults, decision makers. They will be also some of them fishermen, some of them will work in the supermarket, whatever, but they will spread the word if that's stuck in their minds. So we try to focus on scholars. And also something that my boss always mentions is, if the scholars from early ages can understand this, why decision makers cannot? So if we start with scholars and infants, this will definitely work. So this is the first aspect. The second one is activism. So get in immersive experiences. For example, if to raise awareness, we take representatives of relevant companies who wants to volunteer. Sometimes, being honest with you, it's just for having a good image of their brand. So this is beneficial for them as well. So the second phase is immersive, trying to gather them to be part of the cleaning up beaches, cleaning up rivers, waste collections, raising awareness about the plastic pollution, anything that is harmful for the environment, but we take part of, because our people with disabilities, they are the main agents. They are taking the active role, and they are teaching the others how to do things more efficiently, more correctly, and less harmful for the planet. And the last one is the restoration. This is something very stick to our context. This is an issue that we detected together with for example, the CSIC, which is the Sea Sciences or Marine Sea Sciences Center Institute in Balears and also in Catalonia, here in Spain. So as you can see, we collaborate with institutions, centers all around the country with a common objective and goal. Sometimes it can be very simple, but our main objective is social innovation and bringing them to all the conversations, to all the possible actions and activities, because they belong there, and we must all be involved. So depending on the context you work with and the collectives, I would suggest to take it simple at first and involving all kind of stakeholders and decision makers, especially the youngsters, but also it's something interesting we're starting to do now in a project called Arousa Lab. Arousa is the estuary, the closest part of the sea, where we work with fishing and so on. So this is a cascade funding of Horizon Europe, and we are meeting with a social committee. And the task we asked them to do, the first one was to meet one young person and one older person from their company, association, whatever, to just discuss on how much we developed our work, how many things improved, but also what we'd like to still work on and build together to improve it. So those are the three key aspects for us. Again, we always, my boss would be, I can imagine him saying out loud, Sara, but be humble. And don't, we're taking small steps, although you cannot see that because I'm just here for 2 years and this took us 25. So
Wow, Mr. Zafar, thank you for that question. Anna, Hannah, Sara. Yes, you just mentioned something that at a personal level and also working in the EU bubble environment, being humble, no? Being humble. So I think that that's the core value, no? That vertebrates all the work we do, no matter where we are based. And I think this puts the, I don't know how to say this in English. I forgot the expression, but like the core, no, of what this conversation has been about. So I just want to say thank you very much to the presence today, Sara, all your colleagues at AMICOS. You are making a remarkable job. You are creating systemic change in the communities and in the lives of all these youngsters, and going back to this family-centered model, no, to the society as in a whole. So thank you very much. Let me check. There is a comment here. Ay, Emilia, Sara. Free choice methodology. How did Amigos come up with? Oh, okay. Can we ask this very? Can we answer Emilia's? Sorry, I didn't read your comment, Emilia. Sorry, dear. Sorry.
it is quite, I was thinking while reading, it is quite hard to answer this question. How did it come up? Free choice is one of the main aspects and takes part of the quality assurance plans of the entity. So this is something that maybe a person who belongs to the direction, who are in charge of the organizational strategy would answer better than me, definitely. But yeah, free choice methodology is key, and it is well demonstrated that helps them to improve their self-esteem and also their self-autodetermination. So they choose what they dress, for example, to take it simpler. They choose which football team they stand for, and there are big fights with this, but it's important for them, and for us. I don't know. This is a way that we can demonstrate them simply that their lives belongs to them. They have their I don't know, the decisions of and the power to decide, as I was saying, for self-determination and self-esteem. So this is as I was saying, structural, that that was decided by the specialist team of psychologists, social workers, and all this team, pedagogists as well. They meet together, they study all the cases, but this is a whole methodology that after all these years it was demonstrated that it was succeeded. So for example, the tablets themselves, it's a very easy way, for example, to control the whole room of sensorial and stimulation room. With just one tablet, we just manage the whole room with the smells, the vibrations, the colors, everything. So it is basic for us to teach them, use it, and also all our personal. Sometimes it's even more difficult with the personal because once you get a certain age, getting into the new devices and following, being in the loop, it's quite difficult. But I don't know, being updated on this digitalization progress, which goes too fast, I think it's key. For example, because any bureaucracy, administrative task that you have to do, it's online nowadays, and if not, you have to ask for this, for scheduling a doctor appointment or anything online. So using devices is very important. And we reduce the use of paper with this. So it's win-win.
Totally, totally. Building agency, at the end of the day, like feeling that we matter, no, it doesn't matter where you are, where you are based. And I think that's the beauty. And I think that's the beautiful thing of being based in Galicia, like more at a more regional level, but at the same time open to the world. And maybe opening offices in all the countries. Sara, you will keep us posted about this. Let me know. Sara, immense thanks. Muchísimas gracias. Really, thank you very much. So inspiring. I really encourage all of you to follow the work of Amicos. Youth Proactive, we are always happy of collaborating with your organization, Sara, and really thank you very much for this, because it brings us hope that there are like different ways of doing things and demonstrating that everybody has a place in society, everybody. So
Great things for
gracias.
people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa. Thank you all.
Take care, all of you.
Thank
Hannah,
you so
thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Bye. Cheers.
Thank you, all of you.